Well, hey friends, it's Jess Cassidy here on the Business Lounge podcast show. Today is a special episode where I was a guest on Lauren Glynn's Process to Profit podcast. So I want to share this episode with you guys today so that you can listen to everything that we talked about, from streamlining your business to avoiding burnout, and why all of these things are so important to help guide you in your online business. So take a listen, and I hope you guys enjoy.
Nobody is saying you can't help everybody, but it's so important that you find one person that you can visualize to help just to start. You can always expand. But the only way that you can get your messaging out to people is if they feel your message. They have to be like, that's me. I need that.
Welcome to the Process to Profit podcast, where we find out about key processes and productivity techniques that drive successful service-based businesses. Whether you're just starting out or looking to scale, join us as we uncover practical strategies to streamline your operations and help you make more money by boosting your profitability. Let's get started. My guest today is Jess Cassidy. As an experienced online business strategist and certified business coach, Jess Cassidy brings a wealth of knowledge and expertise to empower online business owners. With a passion for entrepreneurship and a proven track record of helping clients achieve extraordinary results, Jess offers services designed to elevate online businesses, boost productivity, and foster a balanced lifestyle. Jess is currently working on a new book, Mastering Online Business for a Balanced Life, which we would all love, which offers a roadmap for entrepreneurs seeking to achieve extraordinary success while maintaining work-life balance. Jess, thank you so much for being here today.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, Lauren. So excited.
I am excited too to dig in a little bit. So why don't you, expand a little bit on that bio I gave you about you. Words are hard for me today. Not good for a podcast. Expand a little bit about that on that bio that I just said, about who you help, what you do, all of those good things.
Yeah, absolutely. So I specialize in working with online entrepreneurs to help them establish a work and life balance that's perfect for them, and kind of getting them out of the cookie cutter mentality that there is a one size fits all business schedule, including systems, which, you're amazing at, of course. And, just making sure that, they have the basic foundations for a business. And that doesn't matter if it's a brick and mortar or an online business. They all have to have the basic foundational sets in place before they can, scale their business on.
Yeah, and it's funny how many people want to jump to the exciting fun parts, but you really need the foundations, and you need to be able to build off of something. You can't just kind of hit the ground running, unfortunately, as much as we would all like to, I'm sure.
Yeah,
Well,
absolutely.
again, thank you so much for being here. So, can we start by talking a little bit about how you became an online strategist and a business coach? I know that there are some business coaches out there who claim to be a business coach, but really have never built a business before. So, why don't you tell us a little bit about your background and how you got into it?
Absolutely. So I come from the real estate world. I had a real estate brokerage that I still actually own and operate with real estate agents in it. With developing my real estate business, I found a natural love and gravital pull to marketing on that side of it, and the business side behind, sales. And sales just really isn't like my most favorite part of it. So, being drawn to all of that, that's really something that a lot of real estate agents struggle with, is their marketing and lead generation and systems. So, several years ago, I'd started a coaching business for real estate agents. So that's where I'd started at, was helping other real estate agents, which I've been doing for almost 10 years, and then growing from that point of really not wanting to just only work with real estate agents, but to expand out to other business entrepreneurs, because I don't know how familiar, the audience is with real estate agents, but a lot of them are, kind of all over the place. And a lot of them really don't have dedicated like work schedules, work times, and all of that. So expanding out to other online entrepreneurs was just expanding my business and not being niched down to a niche that isn't always productive or wanting to work in their business, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and it's similar to who I sort of, try to help as well as people who want to build a life outside of their business. They don't
Yeah.
want just to be running a business 24/7. They don't want to be chained to social media 24/7. So I understand. Same thing with our audience. They are all looking for those things as well. So you talked a little bit about marketing and sales and how it's not your favorite thing, but maybe something you're good at. So can you tell us sort of what are the components of an irresistible offer? And how can online business owners, craft their offers so that they actually stand out? Because there's a lot of people selling online right now, and there's a lot of people selling very similar things. So, how can you sort of stand out in the noise as an online business owner?
Oh, such a great question. I would say that some of the biggest things that can make you stand out is to make sure that your offer is just value packed in so much that it doesn't even matter what it costs, but somebody is looking at it and they almost feel like dumb for not signing up for it, right? Like it's so great. Like it's just silly of me to just not do this. No matter what the cost is, it needs to be worth more than that. So whether it's, a $20 offer or a $10,000 offer, somebody who's coming in and looking at your $10,000 offer needs to be like, wow, this is worth $100,000. So to just pack it with so much value kind of leads me to the next thing that's really helpful is having some sort of bonuses that go above and beyond what your core offer is. That can really make you stand out in a crowded marketplace. I will say where people get this wrong is their bonuses sometimes go so far left that they don't have anything to do with what the main product is that people aren't excited about it, right?
Yeah, and I think it's really easy to say, well, my offer just offers everything, so I'm just gonna add a bonus that's related but not quite the same. But I think that ends up confusing people more than helping them.
Exactly. 100%.
So, how do you balance creating an offer that packs a lot of value but also doesn't seem overwhelming to the people that you're selling it to? Because, a lot of people say like, "Oh, tell them about the benefits, tell them about the outcomes, don't talk so much about the features because how you do it kind of doesn't matter as much as the outcome matters." But so how do you sell, high value without being completely overwhelming for the people that you're trying to actually sell these offers to?
Yes. Yeah, it's so good. Yeah, that is very hard for a lot of people. I think that people just go above and beyond and put way too much content like on their sales page. And honestly, what it does is it confuses people, it overwhelms them, and then they're almost like scared. They're like, I don't know what to do. I don't know if this is right for me because there's just so much. So you don't have to list every single thing that they're going to get from your offer. You really need to break it down into big chunks that will show the transformation, not necessarily every little step that gets them there, because honestly, they just kind of get lost in the sauce and they don't need to see all the stuff that helps them get from A to Z. They just want to know that they're getting from A to Z and they're going to be able to walk away from your offer, your program, your course, your training, whatever it is, with that transformation and that amazing outcome that you're promising them.
Yeah, and I think that's where a lot of people struggle with is it's a lot easier to talk about the features like, oh, you get 10 coaching sessions and you can talk to
Yeah.
me on Voxer and you can, you get this workbook. And so
Mhm.
people really focus on kind of the nitty-gritty of the offer and not so much the transformation. So how can people use their, copy, their marketing to kind of talk more about the transformation? Should they focus on stories? Should they focus on statistics? Like what should be sort of their goal or their aim for how they're actually marketing their offer?
Yeah, and I think that this depends too, like if this is your first offer or if you have testimonials to go off of. Because if you have testimonials and you have those people that you've already proved that transformation, that is an amazing thing to have on your website and to share that content because that's proving the transformation. To have others, speak on your behalf of what that looks like. Now, if you don't have that, then what you really need to do is speak to them in your content and your messaging of your transformation or, why you are there. Like, because if you're selling an offer, it needs to be something that you've done yourself or helped others do. So either share your message or others' message is what I would say.
Okay. And how would you recommend people go about finding leads to sell to? Because a lot of the listeners are brand new and they may not even have an email list. They may have a really small social following. So how do you get your message out there to the people that need to hear it and need the transformation that you're offering?
Oh my gosh, Lauren, such a great question. And you tapped on this just a little bit here, but this honestly really needs to be your main focus is your email list. And I like social media. I'm not in love with it as much as I used to be over the last 15 years or so. But the
I don't think
email
any of
list,
us are.
I know. Oh, I know. Well, I think we're all exhausted the longer you're
We
in it,
are.
right?
Yep.
But honestly, the email list, that's something that you control. You don't have to worry about like TikTok, for example, if it gets shut down. And there's a lot of people on there who that's their main source of leads. That's where all of their people are. Even if you're on any of the social platforms and you do get a lot of business from there, you need to be getting people from there onto your email list. So, generating leads and stuff, there's a bunch of different ways to do this, but honestly, the best way is to create a very specific lead magnet that speaks to your ideal client. Now, that's where most people get it wrong. They can create lead magnets and freebies all day long and get people to sign up for their list. The problem is they're not calling in the right person that will buy their offerings or the right person who's in the right spot for that at the time, if
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah, and I actually made this mistake when I first started out. I was a leadership coach for new leaders, and I was offering a guide for having better one-on-ones with your employees. And I got a lot of people to sign up, but I was finding that they weren't converting in my email list. They weren't buying my offers, they weren't signing up for the course that I had, and so I figured out that they weren't the right people at the right time. They
Yeah.
were people probably at the beginning of their journey that didn't really know what they were doing, didn't really understand the problem that they had, and they were generally in the right area, but they weren't in the right moment, in the right headspace. So, how would you recommend people figure out a lead magnet to hit people just right at that right moment, right at that right time that they are your ideal client, they are ready to buy or potentially could be ready to buy soon? How do you develop a lead magnet to actually get that right audience?
Yeah. So this can be really hard because so many people that are coaches or course creators and stuff, a lot of them aim at the beginning stages of starters, people who are wanting to start a business, people who are, wanting to work from home and things like that. And a lot of times who they focus on doesn't necessarily have the income or the funds to pay for the products that they're wanting to sell. So that's the first mistake right there. And the second part of that is really they need to be creating their offer and finding out who their ideal client is first. They need to be thinking exactly who that is and almost kind of work backwards. And, so you're looking at your transformation for your offering, whatever that is, and then find where that person is at the beginning. So if it's somebody, if you're, this is a course of helping somebody lose 10 pounds, in 60 days. You need somebody who is struggling at the beginning who wants to lose that weight, right? Now you have to dive deeper into who your ICA is, your ideal client avatar, and decide, is this, a woman? Is this a man? Does this matter what their age is? And go so far down deep that like what their income is, what they can afford, how much this program means to them, because the value of that with your amazing irresistible offer is going to outweigh whatever that price is. So once you know who your ideal client is, you've worked backwards from your offer and you know where that person is starting at. That way you can help dial that lead magnet in. And in your lead magnet, it has to be something that offers your lead, your potential lead, a quick win. So it can't just be something of like, oh, here's information about, what people are doing to lose 10. Like it has to be something that's helping them maybe lose the first 3 pounds or, change their mindset. Something so that they're getting a quick win and they want more. By the time they're done using your freebie, your lead magnet, they're like, wow, like what else does she have? Because I need it.
Are you ready to work smarter, not harder? If you're an entrepreneur feeling stretched thin, then I've got something game-changing for you. Hey everyone, I'm Jess Cassidy, and I'm thrilled to share that my new book, The 20-Hour-a-Week CEO, Mastering Online Business for a Balanced Life, is now an Amazon bestseller. In this book, I break down the exact strategies I use to build a thriving business with just 20 hours a week. We're talking about streamlining systems, boosting productivity, and designing a work-life balance you can actually stick to. Whether you're new to online business or ready to level up, this book has insights that can make a real difference. Grab your copy today on Amazon, and let's start building the life and business you've been dreaming of. So tune in, learn, and take action because you're one step closer to becoming the CEO of your time. That's the 20-Hour-a-Week CEO, Mastering Online Business for a Balanced Life, available now on Amazon.
Yeah, and I think it's an interesting dichotomy, right? Because we hear a lot, oh, niche down, don't niche down, be really specific, be really broad. So it's can be confusing for new online business owners to understand how far to niche down, at what point they should be niching down, because you're saying, and I don't disagree, I'm not trying to argue with you.
Yes.
You're saying like your lead magnet has to be really specific for who you're looking for. But at the same time, a lot of new business owners feels like that limits who they can reach out to. It feels like it's limiting their client base, and they feel like they want to be talking to everybody. So what would you say to someone who's like, but I want to be able to help everybody?
Yes. So I was literally just having this conversation earlier today. And you're so right. So many people who are starting, they're so scared, they're so nervous that they're going to miss so many people, right? That they're going to lose out. And they're like, well, why would I not want to help all of these people? Nobody is saying you can't help everybody, but it's so important that you find one person that you can visualize to help just to start. You can always expand. But the only way that you can get your messaging out to people is if they feel your message. They have to be like, that's me. I need that. You can't feel that way if you're talking to everybody. I'm not going to relate to that. If you say, hey, you make a messaging content out there that reaches out to a mom who is, a mom to all boys. Well, I don't relate to that. So I'm not even going to pay attention. I mean, I have one son, but I also have a daughter. So my world is a little bit different. So that way you're turning people away if they don't relate to what you're putting out there. So if you do pick that one person, it's not to say that you have to stay down that road forever, but you need to focus on one as small of a niche as you can just to start. There is room for expansion, but other people that might be outside of that bubble for your marketing message could also, resonate with your story and still come in as well.
Yeah, and I think it's important, especially when you're starting out, like you said, to be really specific so that you can reach the right people. And then, like you said, you can always expand later. You can always add people later or add, different traits later. But if you just want to get those first few clients in, the more specific I find that you can be, the more it resonates and the better people will want to work with you. I always find that the people I want to work with most, I find saying, were you in my head? Did you just hear, did you hear me talking to myself? How do you know that that's exactly what I was looking for and exactly how I was feeling? Like, that's how you want your potential clients to feel. It's a little creepy, but it works. That's how you want them to feel. It's like you're in their head and you know exactly what it is that they're looking for, what they want, what they need. So switching gears a little bit, new business owners I find tend to go really all out when they start their business. They get really excited about it. They're working nights and weekends, guilty. They're really trying to do as much as they can in the beginning to get it started. But your book coming out, or your book that you're writing, is all about creating that balanced life. So, what advice would you give to especially new business owners for creating starting from the beginning with a balanced life, starting with, building a life that they want that goes along with their business as opposed to making their business their whole life? What kind of advice would you give
Yeah.
to them?
Oh my gosh, yes. Because I mean, the majority of people who become online entrepreneurs are doing this to get away from the 9 to 5. They're getting away from working, crazy hours and not spending time with their friends, their family, or doing, their hobbies and their crafts and doing all the stuff that they love to do. The problem is, especially for, creatives and online entrepreneurs, because we're passionate, we're multi passionate usually. And we all, fall down the shiny object syndrome. So the biggest problem is that we all try to do too much. We try to do everything. And when that happens, we don't do anything well. So my first advice is to just know you can't do everything. Don't try. We all spend so much time spinning our wheels and not actually achieving anything. Most of us are only actually productive 2 to 3 hours, maybe 4 out of a day, not 10, 12, 14, nothing like that. So all we're doing is sitting here playing on social media. We fall down some rabbit hole, don't even know how we got there. half
I
the
don't like
time.
you calling me out here, Jess. I'm feeling really attacked here.
And this was me. And I mean, still sometimes, but that's why we spend so much time focusing on things that we don't need to do that are not necessary. That if we set up the right systems, the right tools, prioritize, and I know I'm speaking to the choir here because I know, you preach the same stuff as well. But to set up that stuff, the very, very basics that you can run your business on 20 hours a week or less. And then that free time, like, hey, I love working. Like, I love projects. I love creating. So if I want to work more, that's fine. But I don't want my business to restrain me and hold me back. And I don't want it to do that to anybody else. If my daughter is like, hey, let's go to the beach, it's going to be amazing, Friday, I want to be able to say, hey, let's do it and not subject to it.
Yeah. Yeah. And, I feel like that's the point, like you said, of building your business. You're trying to get away from working, most people, not everyone.
Yeah.
You're trying to get away from working for someone else. You're trying to get more control over your schedule. And so by allowing yourself to kind of work these 10, 12-hour days, you're really kind of going backwards. And it's easy to say, oh, well, I'm at the beginning stages and I just need to do this for a short term. But, how you start is how you go. So once you kind of start down that rabbit hole and start down that habit of constantly working, it's really hard to then take that step back. So if you can build that habit from the beginning, and I joke when I say that I work nights and weekends, because what I actually do is I'll usually work like 10 to 2 or 3, and then I'll take a few hours off. And then if I'm feeling inspired and I'm feeling like I want to work more, I'll work at night. Because that's, I don't have people interrupting me. I don't have meetings. I don't have things I have to, so it's a lot easier for me to kind of do some of those other tasks at night. And if I'm feeling like it, I don't ever pressure myself into it. I don't feel like I have to, but I think a lot of being a business owner is learning how you work best. Now that you're not chained to a desk 9 to 5, what does your actual prime work time look like for you? Like last weekend, I woke up on Friday and I was like, I don't feel like working today. I'm just not going to. And I didn't. But what I did was I ended up having some time on Saturday and Sunday. And so I did a few hours here or there because I felt like it. I didn't feel like I had to. I don't make it a habit of doing that. Sometimes I do because I like to take Fridays off. But, and then like yesterday I was feeling sick in the afternoon. So I ended up sleeping all afternoon after my morning meeting. So I think it's about balance, like you were saying, and I think it's about figuring out how your body works and how your mind works and what's best for you and all of those things. And sorry, I went off on a tangent there, but I was just so passionate about this. I think it's so important that people realize that you don't have to work 9 to 5 just because you're a business. You can work when works for you. So let's talk a little bit more about your book. What inspired you to write this book? What are you looking for readers to potentially take away from? Oh my goodness, words are so hard for me today. What key takeaways can readers expect from your new book?
Yes. So my book is a creation from my own complete burnout meltdown that led to knowing I needed change in my life and my business to find that balance that we've just been talking about. So, creating a program that is very strategic in helping people walk through setting up their perfect work life balance, just like you discussed, and how that is different for everybody. There is no set amount of time or hours per day that anybody should be doing. And there's a lot of women entrepreneurs that are, starting a business or running a business who have little kids at homes or, they're trying to work around naps or, daycare and school and different things like that. So everybody's hours and times, and even when they're productive, like you said, are completely different. I know a lot of people who are night owls who want to work at nighttime. And, that's cool, whatever works for them. And so me having a full on crash, melt and burn, almost ended up probably needing to be in a padded room at some time just because probably a little exaggeration. um, but that also goes into, making sure that you're taking care of yourself, working on your mindset and putting yourself first because you cannot run a great, successful business, have a happy home and work balance if you're not taking care of yourself, and making sure that you are the best you to be able to help others in your business and in your life and enjoy it all. So developing, taking all of that and my transition of, taking the time to reevaluate my business and, really what I wanted for my business and for my life came the birth of this program and ultimately the book that, walks people. It's a true, business framework of walking people, right through the start of helping them find out exactly, what kinds of structure works for their business, setting up those foundations, and then, enabling them to scale it if that's what they decide to do eventually. Not everybody does, nor do they want to. And that's perfectly fine. So I think it's also, allowing people the freedom and the point to say, hey, it's okay for me to run my business the way I want to.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of pressure online for showing up a certain way and being a certain way and being on all the time. We were talking about social media earlier, and people have to remember that social media just shows like a snippet. It is not the whole story.
Yeah.
But I think people see that and feel really pressured to be that way and to be that way all the time, and they don't see the reality of it. So, what mindset shifts do you think new business owners need to make to not only achieve their goals, but to also do it in a healthy and balanced way, like you talk about in your programs and in your book? What are those mindset shifts that you would recommend that business owners focus on first?
Yeah. And I would say that what they need to focus on is finding the things that make them happy and also kind of release, whatever pressure that they have inside of themselves, whether it's, self pressure, whether it's outside pressure, whatever. So that can look like, meditation, listening to, positive mindset podcasts, reading books, going for a walk, going to the gym, whatever that looks like for people, and makes them happy and feel comfortable and helps reset themselves. I think that when people are working on, adjusting their mindset, that they really need to realize that we have businesses to make money, to live the life that we want, right? Not to just create all of this and just create it and just keep it the way that it is and never enjoy our lives. So I hope that people, can take it in to find their peace within, whatever that looks like. I'm not going to the gym, so that one's not going to be for me, but I I love reading and walking.
Hmm.
And I think that, just making sure that you take time for yourself to just kind of like chill, just chill for a little bit, like it doesn't have to be go, go, go. And, if you're a parent or you've got pets or you take care of others and stuff, like you're always pulled in different directions. And then with your business and you're always helping others, that you forget about yourself a lot. And I think that you really have to take care of yourself in order to take care of others.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned taking walks. My business coach that I've been working with goes for a walk every afternoon after lunch. And sometimes she'll work and like send voice notes if she gets things from clients that she could easily respond. But it's like her time in the afternoon. She just go outside, get a little movement in, enjoy nature. And I feel like that's such a good example to set for her clients where she's like, no, this is my time. I'm going out for a walk and I'll get back to you afterwards, or, whatever works for her in that moment. But she's like really dedicated to it. She does it every single day. And as a person living in Texas, I'm just very jealous that she can go outside and walk around outside in the afternoon. She lives up in Chicago, so it's not 100 degrees right now for her. But, I would love to be able to do something like that without coming back in a puddle of sweat. But, I think it's a great example for her to set for her, not only for herself, but also for her clients to show like you need these moments. Even her as a successful coach takes that moment for herself where she's just out and walking around and enjoying nature. And, I've always thought of that as like, okay, it's okay for me to stop working at 3 o'clock when I get tired and I want to rest and I don't want to work anymore. Like she does it, I can do it. It's okay. Like it was so fascinating to me that she was setting that example that I had never really considered that it wasn't even an option. So
Yeah. Crazy, right? And the thing is too is like, you can do it, in a way of like, making sure you take a real lunch break. Like so many people, just eat while they're, working. They don't even know what they're done eating half the time.
yeah.
But just taking that time away, just taking that time to reset, whatever that looks like.
Yes. Well, thank you so much, Jess, for being here today. I really appreciate it. I learned a lot. I know our listeners learned a lot. If people want to get in touch with you, what's the best way for them to do that?
Yeah, so I am on all of the social media platforms. You can find me the easiest because I'm an elder millennial on the Facebook, and my username is the Just Cassidy. I'm also on Instagram. My website is justcassidy.com. And if you go to the resources, we do have some free resources for you that you can grab. And that's it, girl. I'm everywhere on all the platforms. Not strategically though.
Yes, as a also elder millennial, I'm trying to get away from Facebook, even though that's how I met you. So it's a balance. Well, again, thank you so much. You've been wonderful, and I hope everyone got a lot of value out of this, and I will talk to you guys again soon. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.